From start to finish, my jaw was genuinely on the floor. But to be more specific, since episode 2, 17 minutes and 21 seconds in. I'll try not to ramble on too much since I tend to do that often. Instead, I'll just talk about how well done this entire first core was and the things I personally enjoyed about it. I loved the Lost arc so much. I didn't watch the season weekly since I like binging ReZero and being able to watch it in English. I know, very controversial statement from me. But that's just the way I like to experience the series. The plot had me hooked instantly, with Subaru and everybody trying to make their way to the impossible to reach Pleiades watchtower in order to save people from Gluttony's actions. And like I said, every episode had me speechless, whether it was due to the plot points that occurred, emotions I was feeling, animation I was seeing, or voice acting I was hearing. Sean Chiplock is amazing and he truly deserves any award he ever gets nominated for because his performance in this series, but especially this season, has been incredible. I can't help but feel the insane amount of dread Subaru's facing, and Sean's voice acting does not make it any easier for me to digest. Watching the final 8 to 9 minutes of episode 2 was seriously the funnest viewing experience I've had watching anime since well, I'm not gonna lie, I was really hyped during those Sendai Colony episodes, but I'm trying to say those final minutes were giving me such an insane rush, and I literally have messages to back up the fact that I'm not lying. I loved what I was watching, and what I find wild is that the rest of the core was able to continue the momentum and had me feeling a crazy rush like that nearly every single episode that followed. And the ones that didn't give me that rush had insanely good writing instead in its place. But I mean, the show is ReZero's, so I'm not really shocked in the slightest by that fact. Subaru in episode 3 had me terrified and wishing I could jump through the screen and tell him, Subaru, this isn't you. But in contrast, Subaru in episode 4 using constellations to figure out what to do and where to go next further proves that he's so deserving of the praise and love that he gets, which is what makes it all the more sadder when he loses his memories and fails to recognize why everyone around him adores him so much. At least up until the very end when Amelia saved our main character from getting lost in his head and helped him realize who he has been and who he can continue to be regardless of not remembering what's happened so far. Julius is probably the best character this season, of course behind the one and only. I loved his dialogue and I loved seeing him fighting even though he kind of lost multiple fights this season and most likely another time off screen near the end. He was still extremely cool and I loved him. Shala was a fun addition too and actually had a really unexpected personality. She didn't do an insane amount of anything really apart from be on her knees for her master. But she was still pretty fun and entertaining, so yeah, she gets a thumbs up in my book. But our standout this season was obviously the main character who got LARPed and memed to the moon. However, with that being said, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hyped when the intro scene of him climbing the staircase happened, and within 2 minutes later, the actual iconic image from the light novel was animated before my eyes. It was beautiful, and I was terrified, and I was confused, which was great because my mind was going crazy too, wondering where the heck this story could possibly be heading from this point on. I will admit, I'm saddened by the fact that they went with releasing this season in split cores instead of a weekly format, but if it means this level of quality will stay the same and maybe even elevate too, then of course I'm all for it, because more ReZero will inevitably be on its way. And this part doesn't even have to be said, but the OSTs in this series are just so amazing and really elevate every single scene it's used in so much. And I'm aware a lot of the fans aren't fond of the latest opening too, but me personally, I think it's gotta be top 3 instead of bottom 6 like everyone's been saying. I don't know, hot take, sorry. I don't apologize really, I'm sorry, I don't take it. Sorry. Truth be told, I did want to make a video on ReZero Season 4, but once I heard that they split the cores up instead of releasing it all weekly, I decided to hold my tongue and not make it. But I finally had time to binge part 1 and couldn't help but make a video on the peak I've just witnessed. I'll definitely make a video after watching part 2 of Season 4 as well, which I'm hearing is called the Recapture arc. I don't read the light novels, so I'm in the dark when it comes to this series, so if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments below. This first core of Season 4 was great. I don't really have any negatives to say. I liked it a lot. I had to make this video praising it. Everyone Everyone at White Fox did amazing. I'm so proud of the hard work. The only times I've had to wait for something was when I was watching season 3 weekly, which was absolutely amazing, and then the break between season 3 and season 4. But as a new fan of this series, I'm just so appalled that they're able to keep going and pushing out great storylines with this show instead of making some sort of filler to get in the way. I loved it, and from one fan to another, if you all like this extremely short video about my thoughts on ReZero's The Lost Ark, I'd appreciate it if you all left a like on the video, and absolutely feel free to leave your thoughts down below, as I'd love to talk about it more with any of you. Or if you want to criticize some of my thoughts, feel free to do that too. I know I had like 2 hot takes in here, so go ahead. And as for anybody new to the channel, I'm Lava. I make stylized content on media that I like and or am currently enjoying, so if you love content like this, hit that subscribe button for me. I'm planning on becoming more and more consistent, so put your faith in me and we'll all be eating good. Now with that being said, this was Lava and his thoughts on ReZero's The Lost Ark, and I'll be seeing you all next week for another niche anime video.